Okay, hello everybody. My name is Susan, and today I want to talk to you about a breathing practice, a practice that will really help in many ways. In particular, it's useful for managing stress and enabling you to cope better. So the breathing practice is sometimes known as coherent breathing. And the reason that we do it is that we want to increase the heart rate variability, our heart rate variability. So the heart rate is the number of beats that the heart makes within a time, within a second, a minute. But let's say there are 60 beats per minute. That's 1 beat per second. There will not be exactly the same space or time between each beat. And this is what's known as the heart rate variability. And as I said, the greater that variability is, I mean, we're only talking about fractions of seconds, but the greater it is, the better for you. Now, the reason for this goes back to what is actually controlling heart rate variability, and that is the nervous system. And you may know that the nervous system has two strands to it. The autonomic nervous system is made up of the sympathetic nervous system, which is sometimes known as having a fight or flight active effect, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which is a rest and relax kind of effect. So generally speaking, if the sympathetic nervous system is in overdrive, that's when we're going to feel stressful, experience anxiety, etc. When parasympathetic nervous system is fully operating, we're much better able to sleep, to relax, and to take life a little easily. So this is what we're going to be aiming for in the breathing practice today. We're going to be aiming for increasing the heart rate variability, and doing that by having an effect on the nervous system with the breath. I could go into slightly more scientific details, but I think this is a nice, simple way to look at it for now. You will find lots of information on the internet, and if you wanted to contact me, I can actually send you some written information about how it's actually working. Okay, now the first thing to do is to understand our breath. How are we as individuals breathing? Some people breathe faster than other people. Some people have shallower breaths and some people have deeper breaths. Very often when you're stressed, you're breathing in the chest. You would also be doing that if you were running as well, or very active. And the breath is faster and shorter. When we're relaxed, particularly if we're in a deep sleep, the breathing will be more in the diaphragm, and it's giving a more slower and relaxed form of breathing in most cases. So let's think about that. we need to fully breathe in and fully breathe out. And we need to be doing it through the nose. Mouth breathing is not particularly good for us. The nose has its own functions. It's like a filter, stops dust and bacteria entering the lungs, and is in fact, again, proven scientifically to be the most beneficial way of breathing. If you have a blockage in the nose, or if you've got a cold, of course, that's often a different story. But generally speaking, we should be aiming to breathe through our nose, unless, of course, like I am now, talking and the breath is coming into my mouth. So let's start by just relaxing the body. If we're very tense, if our posture's not so good, if we haven't got space in our body, that is going to restrict how much breath we can actually comfortably take in. So first of all, I want you to make sure that you're sitting upright. Your shoulders are relaxed and your chest is lifted. Posture plays a big part, as I said. If you're, and again, it translates to stress. A stressful posture affects the breath, and stressed breath will affect the posture. So often, if you look around, you'll see that a lot of people, particularly today, busy lives, got to get somewhere, got to be on time. And what's happening is that their posture is becoming distorted by that. Very often, they're leaning forwards too much, walking, rushing, head gets pushed forwards, spine gets curved, chest gets closed. So we need to, first of all, just think about that. Think about sitting up tall, relaxing the shoulders and taking them slightly back. Good. Keep the head above the shoulders, so not forwards. Don't pull the chin back, but also don't let it protrude too far forwards. And just close your mouth for a few moments if it's open. And take a breath in and a breath out. Feeling the air in the nostrils. Very good. A little more stretching and opening up of the body. Let's take one arm up and maybe place the hand behind the back of the head. And we're going to draw that elbow across, lengthening down the side of the body. Come back again. And then the other arm. And lengthening across. And come back. So you can do a few movements like that. And then rotate the shoulders again. And rotate them forwards. Good. Lift the shoulders up. Drop them down. Lift and drop. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. Let's turn the head. So turning the head to the right. Back to the center and to the other side. Doesn't matter if you go right or left first. It's dropping the ear down towards the shoulder. As we get older, there's sometimes some stiffness coming into the cervical spine. Don't worry too much about that, but it's good to do a few exercises every day. Just a gentle tilt and back. Now, lifting the whole of the front body and slowly raising the chin. Keep that lift. We don't want to be crunching the back of the neck. Look up at the ceiling. And then come down and drop the chin. And back to the front. Okay, let's do that again. Turning to one side. Back to the front. Turning to the other side. Back to the front. Tilting. Center. Tilting. Center. Lift the chin. And drop the chin. And straight ahead. So rotating, this is good, but mainly I would suggest doing it at the front, rotating from one side to the other. We can rotate upwards as well, but again, don't crunch the back of the neck. Lead with the nose. Imagine the nose is just drawing a line across the ceiling and down and round. It's like drawing a circle around your face. And then at the top, you can change direction. And then come back to the center again. Okay, a gentle twist. Place one hand on your shoulder and turn. Try to turn in the waist rather than moving the hips. Back to the front. Let's go the other way and turn. Back to the front. And again. And front and side. Place the hands again on the shoulders, one on each side this time, and rotate. Let's go the other way. It's good to have your hands on your shoulders. That way you can keep track of that you're keeping them fairly level, not lifting the shoulders up too much towards the ears, simply rotating. Okay, and release. Now the breathing. As I've mentioned, there can be a tendency to only breathe into the upper chest. This has its purpose. We need to do that sometimes. Like I said, especially if you like to go running, jogging, physical exercise can take more breath into the upper part of the lungs. But generally speaking, for activating the parasympathetic nervous system, we need to be doing nice, smooth, diaphragmatic breaths. So I'm just going to sit back a little bit here so you can see a bit more of my body. Maybe a little tilt of the computer. That's it. So hands here. So this is where you can feel these ribs, floating ribs at the bottom here. Place your hands over those and start to breathe deeply through the nose. Now, I don't know if you can see, but as I breathe in, my fingertips just slightly move out sideways. And as I breathe out, they're moving in, because that's what's happening to my body. It's expanding with the inhalation and contracting slightly with the exhalation. There is a diaphragmatic movement up and down as well, but we can't always feel that so much. So it's good to get the feeling here, and having the hands here is a good way to start. You may also feel that the belly comes out a little bit as you breathe in, and again recede slightly when you breathe out. Okay, so we've established how we want to practice the breath, and we want it to be deep diaphragmatic breathing. Now, if you're not used to that, that can be a little bit of a strain, and particularly maintaining the length of the breath. So to help with that, there's a particular style of breathing that we can do. It's a very important part of pranayama, which is yoga breathing, one of the techniques of yoga, breath work. And it helps us to maintain steadiness in the breath and also to lengthen the breath. It's known as ujjayi breathing in yoga, and it's sometimes called ocean breath because it has a sound. And the sound is rather like the waves coming in and the waves going out. So it might be helpful actually to envisage that yourself as if you were sitting on the seashore. And the reason there's a sound is you're slightly constricting the throat. So if you imagine, to start with, let's imagine that you had a mirror and it was a bit dirty and you wanted to use the mirror, you might think, oh, I'll just give it a little bit of a clean. So often what we would do is, or I would anyway, is kind of breathe onto the mirror. Get some steamy air onto the mirror, and then it's easier to clean. So if you think about that, just try that action of breathing onto your mirror. That's the sort of sound that we're going to get. It doesn't have to be loud, but we ourselves should be able to hear our own breath. The only difference is that with ocean breath, we don't do it with the mouth open, because as I've said, we need to be breathing through the nose. So can you make that same action without opening the mouth? Yeah, we don't need to have the hand there. So it's easier with the exhalation to start with. Just try it yourself a few times. You will hear it. Okay, and if that's coming well, you're obviously taking inhalations in between those exhalations of ujjayi breathing. If it's going well, you could try the same technique, this slight tension in the throat, with both the inhalation and the exhalation. So breathing normally, breathe out, and then breathing in and breathing out. breathing in and breathing out. Good. So whether you've mastered both the inhalation and the exhalation in that way doesn't really matter today. You can keep practicing if you've only got the exhalation. But I'd like you to actually now use your hands to direct that breath. So bring your hands together in front of you. And as you breathe in, the hands are going to separate. And as you breathe out, they will come together again. Last one, breathing out and relax, normal breathing. So that's what we want to do. We want to make that sound with nice steady breaths. Ideally, to get the most variability in our heart rate function, we need to breathe for 6 breaths per minute. And that means 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out. So we can continue with the hand movements, but add some counting, approximately 1 count per second. I don't think we should go straight for the 5. Let's start with 4, okay? And then if that's going well, we'll perhaps move on to 5. And if 4 is quite a strain for you, which it might be, if you're not used to breathing slowly, just do 3. Okay, 3 breaths per second. Okay. 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing out. And relax the hands down. Always finish your practice with a breath out. Okay, so hopefully that went well. If you found that it was stressful and a little bit of a strain to manage the count of 5 or 5 seconds for breathing in and 5 seconds for breathing out, it's better to reduce for now and perhaps just do 4 or even 3. Because if you're straining to reach that length of breath, it's going to just have a counter effect on what we're trying to do. Instead of engaging the parasympathetic nervous system, the body will be stressed and it'll be the sympathetic nervous system and therefore it won't have the same effect. So there is a lot more to this. We can use this Ujjayi breath in many ways. Today, I just wanted to talk about the coherent breathing. And I would suggest that you try to do this at least once a day, preferably in the morning. But if you have time, in the morning and in the evening. It can be slightly different in the evening, but that's going to be a different recording. So try to make a point of doing at least 3 to 5 minutes every morning of coherent breathing. I think you'll notice a difference, how you feel during the day. But, you know, we're looking at heart rate variability and its effect on our body systems, on our stress levels. So it can take time, but it's something that's a really good practice to get into. And I'd love to hear from you if you have any questions or if you've got any comments, please contact me. I'm Susan Metwali, susanmetwaliyoga.com, info at that is. And till next time, thank you.